Um, this video will be different from any other video I've made because I'm not having the camera on me. I'm not doing anything. It's just me playing Minecraft and talking about a situation involving somebody, a content creator who I once really loved. Honestly, I really thought he was a great streamer. I thought he was funny. He was an inspiration to me and the style of content I make and my comedic style. And so it really sucks to see all this come out about him. Of course, talking about CallMeCarson. This whole situation really does suck, and it sucks that it is really 100% looking like it is true. And I mean, there's nothing that could really be said now to really help defend him, and it sucks to see people defending him. But it's an interesting topic, I think, and obviously I don't find like the topic interesting like that, but I just think the fact that it has tied into something that has been talked about a ton on social media and YouTube as of late, these things called parasocial relationships, essentially the relationships that viewers have with streamers, and the relationship that these streamers and YouTubers have with their viewers, where the relationship isn't real, but they always, tell the streamer they love them, or they help them through a tough time, when in reality, none of that's true. And the streamer will say stuff about how they love their viewers, but again, in reality, none of it is actually true, because you can't love somebody you've never met. And sure, maybe you can justify it as it's a different type of love, but those parasocial relationships lead to situations like this, where somebody abuses their power over their fans because they can, because they are popular now, and so they have these fans that are talking to them and constantly mentioning them and wanting to DM them. And so when one of them DMs you and you DM them back, it's hard to really try and resist that. And I don't know if Carson really is a messed up guy. I mean, obviously a little bit, but just the fact that I don't know if he had these thoughts really before all of this happened, but the fact that, I mean, once it did happen, like the opportunity arose, the fact that he seemed to be pretty quick to jump on it is quite concerning, and obviously should not be tolerated. I just think it is a bit of a case study, on how easily a relationship between a viewer and a streamer can go wrong, because they put their trust in this person. They probably idolized Carson and loved them, and when something like that happens, I've seen a lot of victim blaming in regards to the whole situation, and I think that is just a whole bunch of bullshit. That should never happen. You should never blame the victims in a situation like this. Oh my. But it's always like, oh, she could have stopped talking to him at any time, but I don't know how true that is, because again, it's like you're finally talking to somebody that it's like, oh, I wanted to meet them for so long, I've wanted to do so much, like, oh, I've wanted to meet them for so long, I've wanted to have a conversation with them for so long, and now you finally have it, and then they keep having that conversation with you, and the conversation gets that little bit weirder, then it keeps getting weirder, and it gets harder to pull out, because you've been having a conversation with somebody that you've loved and idolized for so long. So how do you say no to that? And the answer is, in most cases, you don't. You just sit there and you let things go horribly, even though it's wrong. And with Carson's case, he said he knew it was wrong, and yet it continued the behavior. And so that is where I think it is just 100% more messed up, where he said he knew it was wrong, and yet it continued, and yet he did it anyways. And I do think Carson feels genuine remorse over the situation. I don't know to what extent, but I I do think it is a very unfortunate situation. No reason to blame the victim here. They finally had a chance to talk to a content creator that they loved, and then they trusted, and then that trust was abused. We should definitely put all the blame on the person who abused that trust and betrayed the trust of somebody who really looked up to them. And that's the thing. When you idolize and like look up to these YouTubers as gods, it's way easier to be disappointed like this. And obviously, I mean, you will be disappointed no matter what, no matter how you view somebody when something like this comes out. But I think just the way that these parasocial relationships are built, it was way easier to be let down by this, because you have just so much respect and trust in these people, and you tune into them every other day, and they're like a character in your life that it's like they're your comfort YouTuber, I've seen people call them. And that's that's so upsetting for them to have their comfort streamer turn out to be a bad guy like that. So I think it's just obviously, I'm not even bringing up the age yet, because that's not what is truly important here. Obviously, legally it sort of is, but what really matters here is just the abuse of power, the abuse of trust, and so that's the dangers, I guess, of social media and this new streamer YouTube age, especially with live streaming, because you can interact with these people on the spot. You can give these people that could turn out to be pedophiles, that could turn out to be just all these bad things, you can give them $5 of your money to interact with them. And then when something like this happens, it's like it's so much harder to accept, because you've talked to them, you know them, you feel like, but in reality you don't, because nobody ever truly knows these content creators. And so I think when content creators are genuine on their channels and in their content, and when they seem like their normal selves, that's when things are dangerous. Because I've seen most of the people I've seen get into these bad situations, people are like, oh, I never would have expected him to have done this, when in reality it's like you probably should have, because they weren't suspect, they were themselves. And I don't think you see it happen as often when it's like somebody who is like playing a character. Like, I've never seen anything bad talked about with someone like Jay Schlatt, who is very blatantly playing a character in his videos and in his streams and his content, because he's not putting his life on display like that. He doesn't interact with his fans like that in the slightest. It's a lot harder for him to get involved in a situation like this, when he has, again, he's blatantly told his fans that he does not want them to feel like they love him, or that he loves them, because he doesn't. It's, again, just it's a very sad thing, because so many people, they look to these people for comfort. It's an escape from the times where they feel like they're at their lowest. And it's very easy to have your trust betrayed in a situation like this, and it sucks that it can be betrayed so easily. I wish nothing like this would ever happen again, but odds are it will. And you can never know which creators will end up being the good ones and which ones will end up being the weirdos, which ones will end up being the creeps. It's very sad just how much social media has affected relationships and all this stuff. And now people are maybe not obsessed, but the fact that they feel as if they have a connection, a genuine connection, and they feel as if they love these content creators. And so it hits a whole lot harder when the person that you feel like you love, and they're like, they love their fans, so you feel like they love you back, turns out to be a creep, somebody who's been abusing their platform. It's dangerous to truly be a fan of anyone these days, which is obviously not good. It's obviously not how this whole streaming experiment was meant to go, because really it was just a grand experiment. Twitch.tv, live streaming. Obviously, it's popular now, it's successful now, but who knew if it would actually become as popular as it did? And so that's why it's dangerous, because people build these connections that aren't real, and then they put too much faith into these fake connections. And so it's just it really bums me out to see, and it sucks to see people defending him, because it's not coming from a place that I think like most people genuinely are coming from. It's shock, it's denial. It's because they again, they love the content, and in part they ended up loving the creator. So when something bad happens involving said creator, it's hard for them to believe it. It's easy for them to excuse it. It's just not a good situation for anyone, and it happens way more often than anyone would like. So that is my 2 cents on this whole CallMeCarson situation. All these types of things happen way too often on YouTube, on Twitch with these creators, and it's near impossible to avoid, because when somebody gets that platform, the way social media has been set up to work now is where people really start to feel a connection that isn't there with these streamers, and then these streamers abuse that connection with their fans. It's sad to see, especially sad to see when it's somebody who you looked up to in content creation, and you wanted to model your own types of content and streams and videos and style after. It really it hurts to see that happen. So yeah, there's my take. Not really much of a take, but just a connecting this to other events that have been going on recently. I really hope everybody who's watching this is all right, is safe, is feeling good, and is hopefully, if you were affected by this directly, indirectly, hope you're doing all right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.